the gig again. Ready for another Formers Fridays? I know I am. I've been kind of drained. Real life sucks, along with a lot of other projects in the works. Today we're focusing on something a little different. Now we're still in G1 land, but today we're focusing on something that doesn't really transform, and that is the Transformers Action Master figures. Now before I do anything, I gotta point out that these weapons didn't necessarily come with the figures that I have them with right now, because I've lost most of them, because these are figures I've actually had since they came out back in the 90s. Action Masters was a way for Hasbro or Takara or whoever was involved to sell Transformers and kind of minimize costs. These figures did not transform. They're basically very simplified versions of G.I. Joe figures. And a big difference I just noticed recently is their articulation is way different from G.I. Joe. I always, until like 10 minutes ago, always associated them with G.I. Joes, but when you think about it, there's very little connecting them. Just, there's a rubber binder in there somewhere connecting their hip joints to the rest of them. They're the little metal ball joints, and you can kind of tell with the leg, where the leg meets the hip, but there's no hip swivel joint, and the arm joints are just twisty. There's no ball bearing or anything like that, and we got the basic head joint. These are very simplified G.I. Joes, basically. And there's a lot of characters that were in this run of the series that I've never heard of. I've only got 4. I had the Megatron figure and his big old battle tank, but he broke, because that was the figure I used a lot. But I do have a little, this is what's left of what I've got, and some of them are almost complete. Nobody here is really, well, no, I have one complete. I do have one complete, and we're going to go down the list of everything I got right here. So, let's get right to it. Okay guys, these are my Action Master figures. I've only got 4. There was a whole wave, just like the other Transformer runs. I remember seeing the old catalog guide that every bigger Transformer toy at the time would come with. So we've got a couple of characters. These weapons did not come with this guy. I want to point that out first. But we have old favorites. We've got Blaster and Prowl. And Prowl came with this motorcycle, which does transform. The motorcycle transforms, sort of. And then we have Sprocket, I think is his name. For some reason, I've always called him Doc. Don't ask me why. Maybe that is his name and I just got it wrong. I don't know. And this is Rad. I've always associated him with Hot Rod for some reason. But you can tell on Rad and on Blaster that there's been some paint wear. Especially on Rad. His whole head is supposed to be painted a red-yellow mixture. And his shoulder blade, the paint's chipping away. And that's just due to old age. These toys have been played with hard. And if you get a good enough look at Prowl, he's been age-stained, kind of. You know, like you have a paper for long enough and it kind of fades? It's the same kind of thing. But, these guys themselves did not transform, but their accessories did. And the only example I have of that is Blaster here. He's got this thing. Now, it would be a jetpack that would go on through the peg and in his back, but I'm not going to put that on because if I do, he will never stand up. Like, he'll stand up right now, but if I put this on and try to stand him up with this on, it won't work. But his weapon transforms. Obviously, the wings go in, and then you flip this little switch, and a gun barrel comes out. So now, with this little peg right here, it has become a kind of shotgun. And that he can hold. So I'm just going to do that really quick. And it's not much to show, really. And I think because the barrel is out and because it's so hard to get the legs situated, it's really hard to get Blaster to stay standing. But we did it. There we go. Now, Red also came with kind of like a robot dog kind of character that would transform into a gun. And Sprocket came with like this little Jeep that would transform into a helicopter. And I swear I had that, but I couldn't find it. Now, Prowl's motorcycle is missing some pieces. He had 2 little missiles that would clip onto the pegs here, if you can see those. And then on this side there's a hole where a gun would go, and I've lost that too. So that's how these figures look normally, but we're going to take away these guys because there's nothing more to say about them really right now. And then we're going to transform Prowl's motorcycle. So let's get right to that. Okay, so here it is transformed. This is Prowl's motorcycle transformed into a kind of mobile battle bunker, I guess. The missiles that would have clipped here would have fit into this cannon, but it's not a projectile. But this cannon does spring up. There's a little latch that you can use to spring it up. I'm not going to mess with it now because these are older toys, so this thing does not want to stay standing. So I'm hoping it'll just stay like this for as long as we can. This isn't your average transforming toy. You have to take it apart and put it back together. Like, these little fins will come off, even though there's no reason for them to come off. You just turn them in the spot they're already at. And then this was the bottom of the motorcycle on the sides, and then we have the wheels that have been pulled off and flattened to be kind of a stand, and then the engine cover has been made into a shield, and the gun that was on there would have been his gun too. Now, like I said, these are different than your average Transformers. We have not seen anything before, and the only thing we've seen since are what I think are called Battle Mashers, and I hate those things because they're a much bigger version of these, except you can take their arms and legs and pieces apart and mix and match them, and I don't know why, but I just hate that mechanic. I hate it so much, and I don't know why. But for some reason I love these, and it's probably just nostalgia. I remember when these first came out, I really hated them, because a big plus for having a Transformer was that you had two toys in one. They were Transformers. And they took the best gimmick that that toy line ever had and took it away. Now, after that, we got the Micro Masters, and those were Transformers too, but they were like trying to jump on the whole Micro Machine craze and be miniature Transformers, which was a little bit more fun, but the problem was they made so many of them, it felt kind of pointless, and none of them were characters we knew. They were all brand new characters that nobody knew and nobody really cared about. But I have a huge appeal to these things. Maybe it's because nobody remembers them, and I wish I could go back and get them. They made Bumblebee, they made Jazz, they made Devastator, they made Scorponok, and that was another problem for me, is they were all the same scale size, and that drove me nuts. If Scorponok is supposed to be this big giant city, and Bumblebee is the same height. Okay guys, that's gonna have to do it for me. Bunch of plugs at the end of every episode. Don't forget to go to the Pop Culture Network and check out all your favorite information on new and old toys, comics, video games, all that fun stuff. If you want to talk to me or to Dirt, you can check us out on Twitter. Dirt is on at PCN_Dirt, and I am at One Geek of Many. You can check out the 24-hour hotline at 1-217-953-4025. You can check out jointheforums.com and converse with other great collectors like yourself, or like me, or like Dirt, or like any other person who has nothing else to do on a Friday night, or any other night. And if you want to see more of what I do, I am on YouTube at The Geek Reviews. Check it out. I review a lot of stuff. My most recent video was about a local convention in Minnesota. I'm going to be doing a review on the Studio Ghibli film When Marnie Was There. There's stuff in there about Legos, about comic books, about all sorts of stuff. So check out all that fun stuff, and until next time, for the Pop Culture Network, this is the Geek saying, good journey.